Hi, I'm Kiran Trace. I'm so glad that you're here with us today. A few weeks ago, we did an episode on a type of kind of resistance, struggle against life that decoders we've been unpacking and calling it the LaLa voice, and actually an uplifted trance. We had great feedback about it, so we're gonna dive in again. So here we go. Hi, I'm Kiran Trace. Welcome to Humans Decoded, a story of hobbits, fairies, elves, dwarfs, gnomes, and humans. If you get lost at any point, there is a deep dive on all the different avatars in episode 1. It includes notes. Thank you for joining us in a fun little chat about the vast potential of our human makeup. Hi, Cam. Hi, Leela.
Hello. Hi, I'm so happy to be back here.
We missed you, Leela. We were interviewing some other folks while you were away. It was fun, but it is wonderful to bring you back because we had so much good feedback on our last episode decoding this bit of resistance that we need to share some more of our embarrassing moments around it. And you have so many good ones.
I was about to say, because I'm the queen of LaLa or what?
We're all going to do that. We're all going to expose the underbelly of our most embarrassing moments to try to help decode this crazy, invisible stream. We are calling it LaLa, and it is this bubbled, happy trance out of non-reality. And it's sneaky inside of it, like to be the one in that little happy trance that's just so devoid of reality, ironically, is hard to spot. Everybody outside of you can see it. It's really obvious. But inside, you're in your own little la 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 bubble. So we call it the LaLa.
And it's so easy to not see your own LaLa. Yeah, it's so easy to not call it out. And so I feel like that's why we come together, because the more you call it out, the more you can spot it in yourself. And that can only be a good thing, because even though it might feel yummy, actually reality is much better.
Amen, sister.
Yeah, calling it out. And, when I'm really honest, I find it pretty funny to share my stupid moments of LaLa, because they are so stupid. And the more I share them, the more clearly I see sort of the movement of it. And I feel like we can never talk enough about that because it's so prevalent.
Okay, let's talk about our oopsies.
I have a funny story. I was staying with Kiran, and they had a sofa bed set up for me, but for whatever reason, there was only a twin mattress, so like a single mattress, we call it here. And so I just put the sofa bed away, and I had the twin mattress on the floor. And then Kiran came in. She's like, "Wait, we've got a double mattress, and you can be on the sofa bed, so you can be elevated and have like a proper bedroom." And I was like, no, I'm fine. And so I had no idea at the time, but I thought I'm fine because I have all this floor space that I can kind of play around in. And then, I don't know, everyone was like up for helping move the double bed into the room. And as they were coming in, I just had a meltdown. Like all this terror came up. And I had to leave the room and like be on my own and cry. Because for some crazy reason, I was afraid. And they finally set the double bed up. And then it was just such an up level. Like, I don't know why I thought sleeping on the floor in the corner was better than having like a double bed. But that's kind of the way LaLa would have had me like in this little sort of subpar situation going, it's all fine, guys, don't worry.
I think during that time, or kind of that holiday time, there was like a big holiday here, And we had to get beds for everybody. And I have this LaLa story that, like, if there's a big holiday, in order for it to be special, everybody has to come. And um, in in reality, that's a really hectic situation. And I think, like, decoders, you guys can relate. Like, if it's a Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever holidays, summer holidays or something, and everyone's there, it's so triggery. There's so much to navigate. It can be really depleting. But my little walled off trance happy place is like, everybody's here. And that's what makes it special. And we'll have like all these special moments. And then, there's like, that's my like pain body story, because the pain body doesn't have the faith or the ability to trust life, that life's going to come up with these really, really beautiful moments spontaneously. And so I have this little dream.
Yeah, and Kieran's pain body wanting it to be special and having everybody around triggered Cam and my pain body of like, so what? We're not enough. Yeah.
So the couple of people that were already here keep being like, are we not enough? When I'm like, like when people's arrangements are changing and they're not going to make it and all this sort of stuff. So there's this thing about that trance, that bubbly trance, because the wheels will come off and there's this slam. In this case, it like that trance isolates me into this place of like, this is what Christmas is. Meanwhile, my beautiful family around me that's here or that did arrive is like, oh, we're not Christmas. But but then actually life brought up so many beautiful ideal moments just spontaneously that it just was, life came so nicely and popped my little isolated bubble of story.
And it was interesting for me in that sort of hectic, slightly chaotic space of like the Christmas holiday to just watch myself be sort of, the person who gets shit done, who cleans the kitchen and really enjoys it, has a really good time. And I noticed there was a fear about that, because I'm much more comfortable sort of hiding somewhere in the background on my own, probably collapsing on my fainting couch, as Kiran calls it. But then to just watch myself, I don't know, planning the dinners, making the dinners, cleaning the shit, and just really sensing the fullness of that was like, whoa, crap, what's happening here?
Changing my
Showing
identity.
Up? What do you mean?
Because on the flip side, I have a hideout also. So this bubbly, tranced off hide that goes the opposite way. It's like, I'm so busy. I've got to go get this shit done. My schedule's so stacked. Everybody wants a moment with me. Like, I'm so exhausted. I'm so maxed out. And that's a little hideout where I don't have to check into my body, where I don't have to come into the moment, where I don't have to listen for what's true. And I get to hide in this sort of busy story, which is so funny. You hide in the like fainting couch and I hide in the like, get shit done. But it's so funny because it's still a bubbled trance of happy place. The like, I'm so exhausted, I'm so busy. Ironically, it's still a little bubbled off trance of happiness. I'm so busy.
And since we promised like lots of embarrassing stories, here's one of my repertoire where I was really invested in a bubble of story of LaLa traveling. I was flying over to California for Christmas and I missed the flight. And I missed it in a really stupid way. I was at the airport. There was enough time. I was in the lounge. I was having coffee and, I don't know, eating breakfast or whatever. And I was just really stupid. I don't want to, it's too long to share all the details, but it was pure stupidity. And in hindsight, I could see that I was completely tranced out in this story of, look at me traveling like a grown up. I got up at 4 a.m. in order not to miss the train, in order not to miss the flight. And there was this sense of almost like a pride or something of like, yeah, she's doing so well with her little suitcase and her little coat off to an adventure.
Sitting in the lounge having a coffee while her flight takes off.
Jesus Christ. And I had to stay a night in Frankfurt. I arrived late. I mean, it was fine, but just stupid, right? And then I noticed how often when I sort of stub my toe or I would burn my hand on something hot, it's linked to a little bit of a storytelling that's going on, exactly like, look at us, we're doing so great. And that's such a clear sign of LaLa.
I love that you language that, like that you're decoding that so clearly. Like it's this subtle essence inside that we don't normally catch that says like, look at me, I'm grown upping so well, or look at me, I'm parenting so well, or look at me just out here doing it so well.
Terribly embarrassing.
And the root in there is that there's a voice tracking you in space to have that commentary. That little tracker is the sign that it's actually coming from one of these belief systems. These belief systems like tracking you in space, commenting about you in space, having this great approval. So this up-leveled trancy thing we call LaLa is like the pain body's in approval of what's going on here. It's like these proclamations from pain body, like this, like, I've got this, people. I've got this.
You know, I feel like that's why it's so tricky to catch it, because most of us, or at least in myself, I can see how I was so used to pure effort. Like every step of my life was effort. It was such a push to get anywhere, to get anything done. And then LaLa feels like it's so much lighter. It's so much better than the fucking push and effort. So I think that's part of the appeal of LaLa. And then it's really easy to mistake that bubbled off trance for delicious yes, something we practice in our community where we listen to the body and we hear that deep exhale in our being of like, oh yeah, having that tea would be so delicious. And it's easy to mistake the LaLa story, the story of delicious, for actual delicious. And a good example here, I think, is pastries.
I hear you on that one, because pastries is the perfect setup for LaLa. It's like, it's so glazed and pretty and flaky
colors.
And buttery, right? And it's like that, like it's a happy place, isn't it? Unless you listen to the belly and you want the pastry.
Yes.
And that is the trance versus what your actual belly wants. You know, your belly wants an apple sad. No. Or vegetable soup.
Special.
So disappointing.
Yeah, it's actually an exploration I often have with clients, this distinguishing of wanting the story of delicious versus the actual delicious, because exactly what you said, Kiran, sometimes it's disappointingly ordinary, the actual delicious.
Because
not special at all.
This trance, this happy trance, it's the pain body. Like, so your unique belief system, I'm unlovable, I'm unworthy, I'm not good enough, I don't belong. And your own system, Decoders, has this like that belief system. And then that belief system has like a habituated ideal situation. Like, and it's really habituated. Like it's a really habituated storyline of like unlovable. The end goal is that happy, cozy family moment. And so it's this habituated, like heading off towards that, heading off to get it. is the like it's as Cami was saying, like to sleep in the corner on this twin bed was like so comfortable for her pain body of like that pain body likes to play second fiddle, likes to be a little less than. And so it's like really comfortable being a little less than. And it's this habituated, like it's really comfortable in this place or mine, like it's really comfortable to be like too busy to check in. Like it's really comfortable to not check in. It's not true. There's no truth to that comfort. That comfort is a total lie. It's a total trance, devoid of any reality.
My other sort of pal, bestie, pain body, woo, that I always seem to be in cahoots with is Don't Belong. And yeah, another like embarrassing oopsie moment is over winter, I was in California and I was considering extending my trip because it was beautiful and sunny. I had lots of friends and community, space to paint, just basically space to overwinter. But for a minute, I was really, really captivated by the idea of coming back to the UK mid-January with no work lined up, an empty house because my roommate was away, just absolutely freezing cold studio in the UK, so that I could spend time with my lover, according to my fantasy. Like, none of this was grounded in reality at all. I think the poor dude had no idea either. This is just my pain body running away with like fantasies. So yeah, it's very much like a noxious gas that comes in, like this sort of happy place. Like your pain body's like, and you're like, ooh, this looks lovely. I want to stay. And so Don't Belong has like a non-romantic, platonic sort of happy fantasy play space. And it's parties. I mean, I am a fairy, but the way it seems to play out is like tacking on party after party after party after party for like 4 days straight. And it's really hard to spot when I'm in it. Like I have no idea that I've just said yes to like 8 events and I'm like, woo, where's the next one? Where's the next one? And often it's like me hyping everyone up to go to the next thing. I'm like culprit number one. But yeah, so Don't Belong can definitely party from a very ungrounded place. And even as I'm sharing this now, I'm still learning, like, why is this pain body? It feels so good. So it's very much a learning curve for me. Yeah, this LaLa business.
I think it's so great, even what you're just saying right there. Like, why is this pain body? It feels so good. Or Leela pulling out that piece of just like, look at me doing life and I'm lifing so good here. Look at how whatever entered like awake I am or spiritual I am or how cute my butt is on TikTok or, you know, I'm doing it. And it's so funny because that's the very moment that you are so not. That's the very moment your plane is taking off while you're sitting there having a coffee in the lounge.
Metaphorically, theoretically.
I think my happy place is sort of the opposite of Cami's. It's this very serene, quiet, calm place where not much is going on. And there's definitely crystals around. And like these little glass things in the windows that project these beautiful prisms. Maybe I'm wearing a bathrobe. I'm drinking this beautiful rose petal lavender tea. That's my happy place.
Yeah.
And I love it so much. And I don't really want to give it up, to be honest. And then can you imagine her, like she who feels so comfortable in that serene, calm space, discovering how fulfilling it is to clean the kitchen and get shit done. She's like sipping that tea that like really it tastes like nothing. Like it has no flavor to it. Or it's like that. It's like
is it kombucha or do I just have a really bad hangover? Like do I like it? Do I like this? Yeah, I think you're just in this echo chamber of the dream, our uplifted dream, and it just echo chambers back to us, and it's like just hard to let go of, hard to pop it.
I'm so used to always having had. Hold on. I'm so used to the type of resistance for me being this kind of really aggressive pusher flavor where like you're the problem, you're doing something wrong, da 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 da. And so I feel like I got very good at spotting that one, like, oh, it's just a voice, like it's just the voice of resistance, like it's just sort of fear churning up. But nowadays, there's been a lot of healing, and so there's less of the rara and a lot more of the LaLa, and it feels like I'm so new and naive to it. Like I keep falling for it. I find it really hard to spot.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to spot because it's just as LaLa was saying, it's the set of ideals brought to you by the pain buddy. Whether it's the not belongings ideals of like party people, like and it's so great. I got 8 invitations this weekend, and it's not connected to like what might be true for real in your body, or in this beautiful opposition where it's this quiet, spacious weekend just to brew tea and burn incense and spray essences and just like kind of just pop out of existence, and just sort of like be invisible on the couch and anything in between. That happy trance is so hard to spot. We don't want to let go of it. We're not noticing that something's tracking us. Then it's super in approval of where we're headed off, which is suspect. So suspect. We just want to keep these little pieces in our pockets, which is why we're decoding them all here, right? It's why you guys are all with us and we're all kind of looking at these human behavior patterns so we can start decoding it, because man, the wheels come off these trance places and you crash, and it's so horrible because everyone around you was so aware you were in this trance out and we're knocking on the door, and then when your wheels come off and you're like pop and that bubble deflates and you're just deeply humiliated and so embarrassed.
Yes.
And so we talk about it. We talk about it. And we start to build this vocabulary together and decode this together. And I think like ultimately one of the things we're saying is that like this bit of resistance we're calling LaLa is okay. Like it's funny. It's oopsies.
Yeah, but is it really okay?
Yeah. And ironically, I think that's the quicksand, is that you have to make it okay in order to see it. And like even this whole podcast, this episode is such a great example because there's so many visuals that have been put forward, of like the party or the like, gonna go home to this empty, cold tomb. But in your story, it's gonna be cozy with you and your lover's little love nest, or the best of like sitting in the airport lounge, deeply enjoying a coffee and sandwich, watching your own plane take off. Like, these are really great metaphors for what this is. And so here we're going to make it okay.
And there's, for me, and maybe some of you can relate, but it's so riddled with shame. Like whenever LaLa resistance comes up in me, I just feel so ashamed. I just want to like squash it and just pretend it's not there. Which I think makes it all the more sort of insidious. It's just more fuel for it. So yeah, sitting here throughout many episodes and with my lovely friends, just calling it out is total medicine, because the more I call it out, the more like the lighter it gets. So it doesn't feel like it's such a big deal that it's here. Like it's just resistance. It doesn't mean it's real. But it does often show up, and it just like with a terror, like, oh my God, LaLa's here. Like it's the worst of the worst. But yeah, the more we call it out, the more it's like, oh, okay, we can, let's just call it out.
You need buddies and you need friends, and, we need this podcast, and we need shared language to get through it all, which is the perfect segue to talk about retreat. Speaking of support, community, retreat is coming up. We do it once a year in July. We open registration just for a few days, and it's coming up. Registration will probably open at the end of March or beginning of April, somewhere there. But one of the things I want to say is that retreat is always a learning place for me about what happens there and how it unfolds. And I find it so juicy and delicious, in part because it is this 6 days of just soaking in reality, in the actual transmitted energy of deep source, and in very practical dialogue. And there's this beautiful group of people, and a lot of space for delicious yes. And you're just like baking in the light of source and presence for 6 days. And wow, does that really reset and make it become so obvious when we have these insidious, invisible, happy trances. There's a comparison now against the true relaxation, the true ordinariness, the true deep field of source that can truly hold you in such peace. Your happy trance doesn't feel like peace up against that. And so it's so helpful to reset and then have this like bar. And then when things are, let's say, the aggressive version, that busy mind just kind of attacking you with everything you've done wrong and the problem of you, it's so clear. Oh, that's that belief system, but also these little invisible, slippery, slidey ones get really seen too.
I mean, I feel like retreat each year is sort of a springboard that just allows you to jump into your next chapter, into your next, I don't know, moment of evolution, into your next, I don't know, whatever it is, because of that reset. Everything's so clear inside, It's like you have a green light to go. Go with life, my child. So I wouldn't miss that for the world. It's so wonderful.
I liken it to going to get your car wash and then opting for like the supreme valet, the one with all the bells and whistles, the deep clean, the polish, the like vacuum, the like your car comes out sparkling, you barely recognize it, and it's good to be reminded like this is what you're actually working with. It's like beautifully sparkly clean. I don't know, vehicle, and then yeah, you have the rest of the year to trash it before you get to clean it again.
Okay, that's brilliant. I love this rich metaphor life that we've got going on here. So registration will open. Keep an eye on the newsletter. If you're not in the newsletter, make sure you sign up. Links are below, and we'll be here next week. It's great to be with you guys, Decoders. We love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you for listening. We obviously love hearing what you think. Your feedback helps us make a better show for you to listen to. So feel free to comment, and you can do it at Facebook, which is the Humans Decoded podcast. And if you're not on social, you can always email any questions to us at outreach@kirantrace.com. And thanks for listening. We love you.